Hi folks, welcome to the Geekery Barn. Otaku Mom here. Now, one of the things I want to try to prevent with this channel is trying to just capitalize on what everybody else is doing. So I don't want to turn this into the Captain Marvel channel, although I've done like a few other videos on it, including a review that I did last week. But I feel like everybody else is talking about the box office. Everybody's talking about the conspiracy of the empty seats in the theaters. Everybody's talking about the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing. And I think I've touched on, at least on the Rotten Tomatoes thing in the past. But this is the one thing I want to touch on right now is this article that showed up in my feed for when I was on Google about Captain Marvel. Now, in my review, I said that the movie's like okay. It doesn't really have a whole lot of SJW, feminist agenda type stuff in there. It's just kind of mediocre. It's okay, you know. It's a diversion is the best way to put it. But this article, this was published today. This is from Polygon, and I felt like I had to address this because this really gets into the crux of why SJWs are hesitant to acknowledge the fact that acknowledge Wonder Woman as being a better film. And it really gets into why they're touting this and trying to blame it on, oh, men just don't want to see a movie with a female protagonist, even though Wonder Woman did really well. Alita's doing really well right now. Then they just want to go, oh, this is the movie we got to promote, even though it's not very good. But let me see. So the article is, the MCU radically changes Captain Marvel's origin story for the better. So let's see. This is written by Susanna Polo. She has herself at Nerd Girl. And let's see why she thinks this is a better telling. So, getting down here. So, in the process of bringing Carol Danvers to the big screen, Captain Marvel changed her origin story. This is not unexpected in the realm of film adaptation, nor did it come as a surprise for fans of the hero. In the comics, Carol is not the second or third, but the sixth person to be Captain Marvel. She got her powers from being gene scrambled with the alien superhero Mar-Vell in a machine called the Psych Magnetron. Then she lost them from touching the X-Man Rogue. Then she got new ones from aliens experimenting on her. Then she got her old ones back. And the movie Captain Marvel forges a new and cohesive origin for Carol Danvers. But there's one change that is a head and shoulders above all the others. And it's also a big spoiler. So if you're actually thinking about going to see Captain Marvel, stop right here. We're going to get into spoiler territories. But this is important that we talk about this so that we could see what their issue is with Wonder Woman, that why they're elevating Captain Marvel, trying to elevate Captain Marvel over Wonder Woman. So even though Wonder Woman is a much better film than this was. Okay. During the press tour for Captain Marvel, Annette Bening revealed that her extremely under-wraps character was the Supreme Intelligence. But if you've seen the movie, you know that the Supreme Intelligence appears differently to everyone. The AI reaches into your mind and finds the one person who you find most trusted and comforting and parental. Because that's what the Supreme Intelligence is to the Kree. A parental, comforting, trusted or else way of enforcing cultural hegemony. And the reason why Carol sees the Supreme Intelligence as Annette Bening is because Bening's real role is as the undercover pacifist Kree scientist Mar-Vell. Before Yon-Rogg wiped her memories, Carol knew Mar-Vell as Dr. Wendy Lawson, a to all appearances human engineer. That Carol still sees Lawson when she speaks to the Supreme Intelligence implies that Lawson had an enormous emotional impact on Carol, a lot bigger than realizing your boss is an alien and taking their word that an engine needs to be destroyed. Now, Now, I wanted to say on the record that I really didn't have an issue with them doing this change in regards to, because I never really read the comics, I wouldn't have known who Mar-Vell was anyway. So doing this change, I don't have that big of an issue with. Okay, so this one I don't have that big of an issue with. So let's continue with. Carol and Lawson don't get a lot of shared screen time on Captain Marvel, but it's not hard to guess at some probable reasons why Lawson's presence would be the key to Carol's emotional trust. Carol and Maria talk about how their jobs as test pilots for Lawson's research were ones that allowed them to live out skybound dreams that were denied to them by the U.S. military simply because of their gender and sex. They also hold Lawson's pacifism dear. They found solace and inspiration in her goal of ending wars, not fighting them. Okay, that's okay so far. Back in the 90s, women weren't allowed to fight in the combat, so if they were able to get jobs as test pilots. That's an issue. That's okay. So let's go on here. Before the movie was released, many speculated that Jude Law's unnamed role, announced to be Carol's Kree mentor, was Mar-Vell. It turns out we were all barking at the wrong tree. Captain Marvel gender bends Mar-Vell, giving the heroine an origin story where her heroic strength, universal that it is, comes from female source. And that gives it a leg up on Wonder Woman. Okay. So, this is where we are getting into the issue. And the thing that really annoyed me about this article, because Captain Marvel's power derives from a woman, is automatically better than Wonder Woman's power, which they say derives from a man. So let's read on here. So now hold up a second. The only two female-led superhero films of our modern era should not be pitted against each other lightly. I enjoyed both of them. If anything, I enjoyed Wonder Woman more, but then again, that's not a comparison of much significance. I liked Wonder Woman more than Captain America Civil War and Aquaman, which are also movies I enjoyed. Now, that's about the equivalent of saying, now, I don't hate white dudes. That's about the equivalent. Saying, I liked Wonder Woman, but... So, I'll continue. I want to be clear about that because there is often pressure to savagely winnow an already small body of films down to the one true good superheroine movie in a way that there isn't for a one true good superhero movie. And also because the playground argument with pretensions, that is, the Marvel versus DC debate, still rages. Still, while pitting Captain Marvel against Wonder Woman isn't productive, they are two different movies with two different approaches to the female superhero, and one is definitely a much better film. There is one specific comparison that is apt. Wonder Woman had the opportunity to root itself in an existing comic origin story that was deliberately crafted to be entirely feminine, and chose instead to use an origin that had a masculine presence inserted into it. Ha ha! So let's find out what that is. Captain Marvel had a gender-neutral comic origin story and chose to invent a female presence for it. Okay, so they chose to change Wonder Woman's origin story to something where her powers are more male-derived. And they decided to change Captain Marvel's origin story to change it to more female-derived. Okay. And because of that, she's saying it seems to me like she's saying one is better than the other. Let's continue. The film version of Diane's origin story begins in the classic way. The Queen of the Immortal and isolated Amazons longed for a child so strongly that the gods took pity on her and breathed life into a clay doll. In its final act, the movie reveals that to be a lie. Diana is the daughter of Zeus. Her powers beyond those of her Amazon sisters don't come as a reward for her demonstrated excellence in embodying their ideals, or as a blessing of their patron goddesses, but rather from her blood relation to a male god. Okay, and they find this an issue. Why? I don't understand this. Because in real life, most of us derive our powers from our male parental units. It becomes a stupid point because you can't have, as much as these SJW feminists want to deny it, we need men. We need men to procreate. We need men to kind of give us our power in a sense. Because of the fact that men are kind of essential to our lives whether we realize it or not. It's the males in our lives that give us the backbone into those people that we eventually fall in love with, marry, and give us those ideals that we can carry with us. And I'm not saying our mothers don't either, but it's a totally different thing with the females. Because we are, as much as they want to try to deny it, even us women need males in our lives. In some form or another. Okay? We need them. They want to deny it, but we need them. Okay? And those male influences are who we are and what make us who we are. And excuse me. Excuse me. So it's those male influences that can make us who we are. I mean, I fully admit it. My father was probably one of my biggest influences, especially when it came to pop culture, because a lot of the interests that I have are because of my husband, or because of my father. And my husband shares a lot of similar traits with my father, so that's probably why I was attracted to him. But in regards to, we can't just simply kick men out of the world and just say we should only derive our power and strength from females. No, it comes from both sides, and the fact that they have an issue with this is ridiculous. So let's continue with the article here. Okay, this is a very recent Wonder Woman origin story that comes from the comics, and in picking it, Wonder Woman follows a pattern in the DC Films library of pulling from the New 52 version of characters in Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and others, rather than Marvel's more holistic approach, which admittedly is something of a necessity for Marvel with how the company maintains its continuity. But it also means that given the opportunity to pull from any part of Wonder Woman continuity, including a strong mythic origin story that has survived countless writers and at least one full reboot, someone in the production on Wonder Woman still chose her most recent origin, the one that makes a man a large part of creating the champion of the Amazons. A character whose power, both within the fiction and in her own culture, has always been about the nature of feminine strength, and the sometimes radical idea that feminine strength exists in the first place. You can't make a good Wonder Woman story that doesn't, at some level, interrogate the nature of feminine power or our current understanding of it. But we make a mistake when we assume that the same maxim applies to all female superheroes. As I said in my review, it is possible and permissible for a story about a woman to not be a story about being a woman. Now, I'm trying to understand what that means. Now, I said in my review, it is possible and personal for a story about a woman to not be a story about being a woman. Isn't that what Captain Marvel does? Is that a lot of her origin is about her being a woman in the supposed man's world, and her deriving her strength despite what these male characters have said to her over the years. And I think I like the wording better of, if you're going to create a superhero character who happens to be a woman, do it as, sorry, my kitty's in the way. Do it as a story about, don't do it about a female superhero. Do it about a superhero who happens to be female. Okay, so don't focus on putting a male into a female body and just saying it's a female superhero, because that's honestly what I think Carol Danvers is. She is a male put into a female body and is automatically a superhero with no flaws or anything. I've already discussed that in my review, but whereas you have Wonder Woman, who's feminine, who's beautiful, who's powerful, who's all these different things, and also has flaws, unlike Captain Marvel, who has no flaws. So, in contrast to Wonder Woman, while Carol's gender informs and magnifies her struggles, there's nothing inherently gendered about her origin story. I beg to differ about that, either in the comics or the movies. Captain America was also told that he would always be weak, was denied the ability to serve in the army for reasons he could not change, and found a way to achieve his dreams anyway with the help of an extraordinary mentor. Which is why I was so pleasantly surprised by Captain Marvel's new origin story, and why it immediately reminded me of one aspect of Wonder Woman for which I still harbor a pet peeve. Captain Marvel didn't have to make Mar-Vell a woman, but it was the right decision for the story. It might have been if they chose a better person to play Captain Marvel. I'm sorry. Now, like I said, I don't have any issue with the fact that they gender bended Mar-Vell. That Mar-Vell is now a woman. And my issue... And I don't have any issue with the fact that she was able, that she had a female mentor who helped her through all this time and all that. But the problem that I'm having is the fact that it kind of plays into the whole Ravar sisterhood thing that drives me nuts sometimes. That they absolutely have to try to pass this Bechdel test in order to be considered a good movie for women. Which is ridiculous. If you don't know the Bechdel test, it's basically there's a scene in the movie where two women are having a conversation where they do not speak about men. And this movie does pass that test, because it's meant to be a feminist film. But unfortunately, I know for me, it's ridiculous because it's ridiculous because of the fact it's like to me it's almost automatically like she's saying men are bad, women are good. And it shouldn't be like that. Men have flaws, women have flaws. Okay? That's one of the things I liked about, and why I think Wonder Woman is the more superior movie over Captain Marvel, is because in Wonder Woman, the character Wonder Woman, Diana, she gets her strength. I mean, not just her physical strength, but her emotional strength too. She gets from everybody around her, men and women. You know, from her more physical strength, she gets from her fighting ability. She gets from the women in her life, because she was on an island of all women for most of her life up until she has to leave. But then she meets a man who brings her into his world to try to find trying to find the god of war. And he helps her out along the way, too. And so they end up working together. And that's what I liked, is that they worked together. In Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers and Nick Fury, who are trying to do this like buddy cop thing, don't really help each other so much as Carol Danvers just kind of leading the way and him following her like a lost puppy because he has no clue what's going on. It's probably the best way I could put it. So they're not really working together. She's leading the way, he's just following her and just following her lead. Almost like he's her sidekick. But in Wonder Woman, they're equals. Her and the character Steve, they're equals in that film. And so because of that, this drives me crazy when they want to dismiss men for anything. And because we can get our strength as women, we can still get our strength from men and still be feminine. We can still get our strength from women and still be feminine. It's all in who you choose as your mentor, regardless of whether it's male or female. So this article was just driving me nuts. I had to talk about it. But on that note, like I mentioned, Captain Marvel did make some money. Didn't make some. It made money over the weekend. It'll probably make its money back. At this point, who knows how long it'll take. But the thing I found interesting was the demographic for this film. So somebody, I forgot who reported it, but it was reported that the demographics on this film, as far as the female-male breakdown, is that the audience for this film was 61% male, 39% female. Okay, 61% male, 39% female. Compare that to Aquaman. Big hit, $1 billion. DC's first $1 billion film. That movie, their breakdown of men versus women was that the audience was actually mostly women. And that was because of the marketing for the film. Is that the marketing of the film for that one came about because of this meme. So I'm going to bring it up here. So this meme right here. Somebody had posted that online as a joke. That's sort of a joke with this hot picture of Jason Momoa, the actor who plays Aquaman, saying, "Moms be like, I'll take you to see Aquaman." And so it kind of got spread all over the internet. And whoever the marketing is at Warner Brothers saw that, latched onto it, and started promoting it towards women. I mean, not just promoting the fact that Jason Momoa was in the film, but also the fact it also started focusing also on the marketing on the female stories in the movie, because you have Aquaman's mom, her story, and you have Aquaman's would-be queen, her story, and focusing on their stories as well in the film. So because of that, Warner Brothers ran with it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna start marketing this to women," and so that's why for that film you end up with that disparity. Is because they made the conscious choice to try to market it more towards women than men. I mean, men wanted to see it too, but the audience was mostly women. And the strategy worked. It got their money. They got their money. And I guess some, again, the SJW types were like mad about this. It was like, hey, they made their money. You can't deny biology. If we see a hot guy, we're going to go see the movie. Guilty. But yeah, I mean, they did a really good marketing strategy with this one, and that's why it made the money it did. Now you compare that to Captain Marvel, which tried to market the women by doing this whole rah-rah sisterhood feminist type thing, marketing. It didn't work. Women didn't go see the film. Like I said, 39% of the audience, only 39% of the audience was women that went to go see this. And I think it's because, honestly, women are just sick and tired of the whole rah-rah sisterhood feminist thing. And they're not going to go see a movie if it's feminist. If they go see a superhero film, I mean, if Thor's any indication, if they go see a superhero, they're going to see a superhero movie. There better be a hot guy in it. And so if you go through the movie, she doesn't have a love interest, so there's nobody for the women to to ogle. So there's no hot guy in there, so they're not going to go see the film if there's no hot guy in the movie. I don't care how feminist you are. There's a hot guy in the movie, you're going to go see it. So there's my take on it. So, okay, so we're going to end it right here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.